Night has fallen, soft and complete. Fires burn low all over the city, and snow lies deep on the roofs. The bells that have been ringing all day are silent. Only the slow rhythm of the river remains, pulsing beneath the frozen heart of London. And yet, even in this silence, something remains. The warmth that does not fade with the candles, the light that does not dim with the dawn. This quiet glow of Christmas is the gift that the Victorians have left us, one December at a time, through the long years of their industrious century. When we think of Christmas now, the tree in the corner, the cards upon the mantel, the carols echoing through frosty air, we are, in truth, living in their memory. It was they who took the scattered remnants of older winter feasts, pagan greenery, medieval charity, sacred worship, and wove them together with new threads. Family, sentiment, and kindness made ordinary. They did not invent joy. They simply gave it shape. They gave it ritual. They gave it home. The world they built was not an easy one. Their cities were loud and gray, their skies filled with the smoke of progress. Machines replaced hands. Time was measured in whistles and wages. But even amid that roar, they found a way to listen, to the music of conscience, to the rustle of kindness. Christmas became for them a pause in the relentless ticking of modernity, a reminder that the measure of a nation was not its wealth, but its warmth. It began, as so much did, with small things. A tree glowing with candles in a palace parlor. A story written by a man who believed that hearts could change. A penny post filled with messages of affection. A child's toy wrapped in paper. A carol sung at a street corner. Each gesture was simple, yet together they created a season that transcended class, creed, and distance. The Victorians made Christmas democratic. They made it belong to everyone, the rich and the poor, the devout and the doubting, the lonely and the loved. And in doing so, they gave us not merely a holiday, but a language of compassion. Their influence did not end at the borders of Britain. Through ships and letters, missionaries and merchants, the customs of the Victorian Christmas spread outward, to Canada and India, to Australia, Africa, and America. Wherever the British Empire reached, it carried with it this strange and beautiful invention. A winter festival not of conquest, but of connection. In a cottage in Cornwall and a colonial outpost in Calcutta, the same carol was sung. In both, a tree stood glowing in the dark, and families gathered to eat, to share, to remember. Even far from snow, beneath tropical suns, people carried that spirit within them, the idea that once a year, the world could be gentler. As the 19th century faded into the 20th, many of the trappings of Victorian life began to disappear. The corsets, the coal, the carriages. But Christmas endured. It adapted, of course. Candles became electric lights, letters became telegraphs, and later phone calls. The pudding still steamed, but now beside the hum of modern stoves. And yet, at its heart, the old warmth remained. When a child presses their face to a frosted window, when a family gathers to eat and laugh, when a stranger drops a coin in a collection tin, the echo of that age returns. The echo of a people who refuse to let progress make them cold. It is easy, from our distance, to smile at Victorian sentimentality, to see their tearful stories, their moral earnestness, their affection for ceremony, and call it quaint. But perhaps it was their very sentiment that saved them. In a world changing faster than ever before, they insisted on tenderness. They built factories, yes, but they also built traditions. They invented machines, but they also invented moments of silence around the hearth. They gave their children the future, but also a way to remember the past. And that is why their Christmas has never truly ended. Picture it now: a quiet parlor, a small tree flickering in the corner, a clock ticking softly on the mantel. A mother writes a card by lamplight. Her child hums a carol. A cat curls in sleep by the fire. There is nothing remarkable in the scene, nothing grand, nothing novel. And yet, in its very simplicity, lies everything the Victorians hoped for: peace, family, and the knowledge that light can live even in the darkest season. They gave us the tools to build that moment, to repeat it each year, as if the world might be healed through the repetition of love. In the end, the Victorian Christmas was not about opulence, nor even faith. It was about the endurance of goodness. It whispered that joy could be made, even in hardship, that compassion was not weakness, but strength, that the smallest flame, tended with care, could outshine the longest winter night. And so it has. From century to century, from candle to bulb, from printed card to glowing screen, the light remains, the same warm pulse beneath all our noise and progress. If you step outside on a December night, when snow begins to fall and the air smells faintly of smoke, you may still feel it, that old Victorian heartbeat beneath the hush. The sense that time itself has paused for something sacred yet ordinary. The sharing of food, the giving of gifts, the quiet gratitude for warmth and company. You may even hear it in the distance, a faint echo of carolers, a door closing softly, a child's laughter rising above the wind. That is their gift to us, not just the trappings of the season, but its soul. As the last embers fade in the hearth, the story of that age remains, a candle passed hand to hand through time. A queen and her family, a writer and his ghosts, a printer, a baker, a postman, a mother, a child, all of them, in their own way, helped shape the glow we still gather around each December. The Victorians built cities of iron, but they also built a festival of light, one that has never gone out. And as you drift now toward rest, perhaps you can feel it too. The quiet peace they sought, the gentleness they believed the world could hold, the warmth that never quite leaves us. For though centuries have passed and the world has changed beyond their dreams, the light they kindled still burns, steady, human, eternal, within us all. The hush deepens now, as if the fabric of the night has thickened, wrapping the world in a soft cocoon of stillness. The hour grows late, and Victorian London, once alive with carols, clinking glasses, bustling shops, and hurried footsteps, has settled into a silence so complete it feels almost sacred. The last lamplighter has finished his rounds. The carriages have ceased their clatter. Even the Thames, restless and eternal, seems to swirl more gently, as though honoring the quiet. Within this calm, the glow of Christmas, this curious inheritance from a century-long past, shines steady and unbroken. Perhaps this is the true wonder of it all, that something born of a world so different from our own continues to reach us, through decades and distances, through shifting customs and changing cities. The Victorians, in their earnestness, in their longing for warmth amid the iron and steam of their age, crafted traditions that would far outlive them. Traditions sturdy enough to weather revolutions, wars, migrations, and the relentless pace of progress. And yet, what they left us was not merely ritual or decoration. It was something quieter, something gentler, a way of remembering who we are, a way of pausing long enough to feel human, a way of finding light, any light, when the nights grow long. As the snow settles outside, you might imagine a Victorian child, cheeks rosy from the cold, standing at a frosted window, much like your own. The child presses a small hand to the glass, watching candlelight shimmer on drifting flakes. Behind them, a family gathers, not in wealth, but in warmth. A simple table, a handful of gifts, a shared meal, a story read aloud, laughter that rises softly, as if careful not to disturb the sacredness of the hour. In that scene, so ordinary, so tender, lies the secret of the season they shaped. For the Victorians understood something essential, that joy does not need grandeur to matter. It can live in the humblest spaces, between two hands warming by a fire, between neighbors exchanging greetings at the doorway, between a mother and child as they tie a ribbon around a modest present. They knew that gestures, however small, become memories. And memories, when held with care, become traditions. And traditions, shared from home to home and heart to heart, become culture. Perhaps that is why Christmas travels so easily through time. It does not rely on the world being perfect. It only asks that people pause long enough to notice each other, to see each other, to care. As the century turned and new inventions replaced the old, telegraphs, electric lamps, railways speeding through the countryside, the heart of Christmas remained unchanged. It needed no fanfare to survive, no grand proclamation. It lived quietly in kitchens, in bedrooms, in churches, in the hearts of children who waited all year for its return. It passed from one generation to the next like an heirloom, simple, fragile, but enduring. And so it passed to us, to you, to this moment. Tonight, as you listen in the calm of your own room, you are part of this long, unbroken chain, stretching from Victorian hearths to modern windows lit with soft glow. You are connected to countless others, past and present, who have stood on December nights and felt what you feel now. A stillness, a softness, a sense that time has briefly loosened its grip. Maybe you can sense it. The echo of footsteps on snowy cobblestones, the distant hum of a choir, the faint smell of pine and orange peel. These memories are not your own, and yet they reach for you across more than a century, asking only that you listen. The Victorians built a world filled with contradictions, harsh realities softened by deep sentiment. And in the midst of their struggles, they gifted us something profoundly hopeful. They taught us that the darkest nights often reveal the brightest lights, that even in an age of machines and factories, there is room for tenderness, that compassion, extended even in the smallest measure, can become tradition, and that tradition, repeated long enough, can become legacy. So perhaps, as the story draws to its close, you might imagine yourself stepping out onto a quiet Victorian street. Snowflakes gather on your coat. A lantern burns steadily overhead, casting golden halos through the drifting white. The city around you sleeps, and for a brief moment, the boundaries between centuries disappear. You are simply standing in winter, listening to the gentle heartbeat of Christmas, a heartbeat that has pulsed through countless lives before yours. You breathe in. The air is cold, but not unfriendly. Somewhere far away, a church bell rings, a single, soft note carried by the wind. It is neither loud nor insistent. It is simply there, like the warmth in your own chest, a reminder that even the simplest sounds can carry meaning, a reminder that even in silence, the world is full of memory. You turn back toward the glow of your own home, your own lamp, your own table, your own traditions. And you bring with you what the Victorians hoped you would. The belief that warmth can be created, that kindness can be cultivated, that light can be passed from hand to hand across any distance. As the last embers fade in the hearth, the story of that age remains, a candle passed hand to hand through time. a queen and her family, a writer and his ghosts, a printer, a baker, a postman, a mother, a child, all of them, in their own way, helped shape the glow we still gather around each December. The Victorians built cities of iron, but they also built a festival of light, one that has never gone out. And as you drift now toward rest, perhaps you can feel it too. The quiet peace they sought, the gentleness they believed the world could hold, the warmth that never quite leaves us. For those centuries have passed, and the world has changed beyond their dreams. The light they kindled still burns, steady, human, eternal, within us all.